Greetings, folks, greetings. It's David back again with another video. It's around, what is it? It's the 18th of September, around 1:53 a.m. as I finally lay me down to sleep here in this truck stop in Raffine, Virginia, or Raffine, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyways, I know I don't make enough videos on this channel, or upload at least that many videos on this channel to actually be known, but this is one of those times where I just felt like I had to speak, even if this is after the fact, like I'm speaking to somebody. I've at least spoken to a couple of family members about the dreadful thing that happened a few days back to one Mr. Charlie Kirk. And when it happened, well, I guess I'll get to that, but right now let me just say I'm making this particular video because I need to speak some words out loud in a way that's not just to me alone in the dark here. These thoughts I offer up for whatever they're worth. Maybe somebody will see where I'm coming from and be of like mind as I am about this terrible tragedy. But I just needed to say that. That's the only reason I'm making this, because I need to talk about this and speak out loud for my own emotional, mental health and what have you. I'm not even going to title this video anything to do with Charlie Kirk. I don't want that to be how I do this, even though he's what I'm going to be talking about. There are a gazillion videos being made that have Charlie Kirk's name in it, and I can understand why. It's a horrendous thing that's happened, and so lots of people are going to be talking about it, but I'd rather not feel like I'm piling on to just talk about the latest thing that's happening in the world. No, I don't do that on this channel. I'm not a news guy, I'm not a gossip guy, but this was just something that I need to talk about. So I don't know what I'm going to title this video yet, but I'll think of something whenever I upload it. But he is what I'm going to be talking about. I was driving along last week. It's only been 6 days since it happened. Last week, driving along, not thinking of anything so terrible as Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, killed by some murderer with a gun, assassinated. I was just trucking along. My mother called me. And it's a thing with me. When you're a truck driver, especially over the road, even if you're gone just a whole week at a time, much less 2 or 3 weeks. I know a driver, he stays out for 16 weeks at a time. I have no idea how he does that, but that's him. I want to try and be home to go to worship services on Sunday, if at all I possibly can, and I'm blessed to have a company that lets me do that. And they're a great blessing to me for that reason alone. So, why did I even say that? I really need to be sleeping, but I've got to get this out while I have this much peace and quiet. It is very quiet in this truck stop right now. I've turned off the fan, turned off the AP unit, or it's gone off by itself, and so I have enough quiet to actually make this video. So I was trucking along, she calls me up, and that's why I said that. It's become a thing with me that I can judge whether or not my mother's going to have bad news by her voice, because she so reliably and predictably says, "How you doing?" just like that. And I can tell by the tone in her voice if she has some bad news, because even if you're only gone a week at a time as a truck driver over the road, you're still living the life of something of a time capsule, even if you're not gone for a couple of months at a time, like some drivers, or a month at a time. People back home where you want to be, your family, your friends, they're living their lives, and all the stuff that happens during the week, it happens. You're not there, you're gone. And so you have to play catch up whenever you do make it home. And so it's just part of it. So I kind of look to, I kind of listen closely whenever she calls me up and says, "How you doing?" The way she does. I know within the first 5 seconds of her calling, and she calls at least every other day, if not every day, at least once, just to check in with me, if it's going to be bad news or not. I didn't detect anything right away this time, but she just tells me, "Just in case you haven't heard yet, Charlie Kirk has been shot." And for about 3 seconds or so, there was a pause as I was processing. Charlie Kirk, who is that? Oh, I know Charlie Kirk. I know who that is. And as soon as it registered in my mind who that was, her voice is like altered, not altogether crying yet, but she just says, "He's dead." And I'm just staring off into space as I'm trucking along, driving this 18-wheeler, and I'm thinking, what? What in the world? What? I couldn't believe it. She said, "Somebody shot him," and then the slight pause. "He's dead." And I was just kind of frozen in time. 65 miles an hour on the interstate, or 70, but still frozen in my mind, thinking, "No, this is a weird dream. This is not really happening." And it's plausible because I have some weird dreams. I mean, weird dreams. But no, I just went quiet as I let her tell me what all had happened. It had just happened within 2 hours of when she called me. And I just told her, "I'm so sorry to hear that, Mama." And she said, "Yeah." She's crying by now, cracking up, her voice tearing up, and just saying, it's awful. It's awful." And I forget what else we talked about for that couple of minutes, because that was the news, and it was nightmarish. Couldn't think about anything for the rest of the drive until I could finally get parked for the evening. And happened to listen to a live streamer, saw the notification come on my phone as I'm driving, because I keep it mounted where I can see it. Started listening to somebody who I actually do listen to for their opinion on the news. And it was almost like an emergency live stream, like, can you believe this is going on? And I won't say who I was listening to, I'll just say he did a very good job of talking seriously about the situation, about what it means, what the possible ramifications are, what's going on in this country. Got into the talk about leftists, hardcore leftists, Antifa types, the horrible political divide in this country, and the whole transsexual phenomenon. And so he did a very good job of speaking plainly and truthfully, and also trying to temper people, trying to keep as calm and cool approach to this wretched situation as possible. And I just think he did a good job. He cautioned us all, if you haven't seen the actual video, because apparently it was videoed, I didn't know, I hadn't seen it yet. He cautioned us not to, those of us watching his live stream, not to watch it. If you're at all sensitive or have a weak stomach, and he just plain out said something along the lines of, if you don't want this to be one more thing that you've seen with your eyes on a screen that you won't have to deal with in your mind, and add to the horrible negativity you have to deal with in your mind. I'm paraphrasing, I'm making it up, but he basically said that kind of thing, like, you don't want to watch this, you don't want to see this. And I was of a mind for a while that, okay, I'm not going to watch it, because I've just seen so many things online that these past couple of years I've just realized I shouldn't have seen them. So many things I should never have seen or heard about, but because of social media I did, and so my brain had to process it. A whole bunch of garbage that I didn't have to deal with, except that I did because I'm constantly listening to the news. These were things that tragically might have overtaken other people in their lives, violence in particular, and horrible acting out that's caught on camera, caught on video recording, people's phones, everything on the news. And it wasn't happening to me personally. I just heard about it. And so it's more and more negativity, like, what kind of world are we living in? And you get what I'm saying. I'm sure you've had the same thoughts about social media and the 24-hour news cycle as I have, right? So yeah. But back to it, I basically decided, okay, I'm not going to watch it. I'll just listen to whatever's going on. Are there updates? Did they catch the shooter whenever I stop? Or just anybody who's saying anything about it until I get parked. Again, this was a week ago as I'm trucking along and driving, and it's just happened. Had to get a reserved truck stop, reserved parking spot. Traffic in Nashville was atrocious, and also Knoxville, I believe. Slowdowns, traffic jams, construction. I basically had to call up and cancel my reserved parking spot that I had at a Pilot truck stop because I wasn't going to make it. And you have to call if you want your refund. They have a feature on their website now where you can cancel it on your phone, but you don't get a refund, which is kind of lame. So you got to call up and get an actual person on the phone, and I ended up talking about this with the guy on the phone. I kid you not, the operator who was canceling my reservation for me and giving me a refund in play. It takes 48 hours for it to show up, for your money to go back to your debit card after you purchase one of these $18 parking spots to park your semi-tractor and trailer. I kid you not, this gentleman, young guy sounded like, ended up talking with me for just a second about, how do we get onto the topic? I think I might have said something along the lines of, there were crashes tonight on the road, like an unusual amount of, there was just something about that night, and it wasn't just because I'd heard the awful news of what had happened to Charlie Kirk. It was something else. So that maybe if I hadn't heard about the news, I would have still detected maybe how off the night was as far as the way people were driving along the road. I don't know. There was just something about it. But me having heard the news, I automatically thought, I wonder if some of these people are upset, and that's why they're a little bit more reckless. And maybe this tractor trailer that I spent 3 hours creeping and crawling so slow to get down the interstate, and it turns out that it was a tractor trailer, horrible accident. I wonder if this was some distracted driver, people driving fast or what, or maybe it was just a bad night and nothing to do with the horrible news of what had happened about this live execution caught in 4K. That's the way the guy on the operator I'm on the phone with described it. He says, man, yeah. Oh, no. Let me retract this. Now I remember what it was. I was canceling my reservation, and I always try and be very patient with people, especially once I get a human being on the phone. And he said, yeah, Ben, I understand what you mean, because I told him I had gone to the pilot and couldn't. That's right, it was the second reservation that I made that I didn't even bother canceling, because I was just so disgusted with everything that had happened that day and that night. I'm like, I can't even call anybody. You know what? Now I'm recalling it even more clearly. The more I think about it, I did try and call up and get a refund for the second reservation I made, but it was after midnight, and all of the human beings are gone by then. So that you gotta wait until people get back in their offices if you want to try and get a refund, which by then it's the next day, and maybe they won't even help you. So I was just too disgusted, and I said, forget it. But the first reservation, yes, I made 2 different reservations for parking spaces, because I didn't know that part of the road that well, didn't know if there was a rest area that I might pull into, and it would probably be packed anyways, so late at night. So yeah, I'm recalling it all perfectly now. I had gone to the first pilot. All the spots were taken, all of them, as has often happened before with me. I get a reservation made, I paid the money online, and I get there, and these drivers are basically stealing. Somebody's in my reserved parking space. Plus, all these guys who park just any which way. I would have had to have somebody move just to get in. There were so many trucks, it was totally packed, and I'm already disgusted with how I feel. How my brain is racked with thinking about Charlie Kirk being shot. Really? Charlie Kirk? I still couldn't believe it. I left that pilot, ended up talking with the guy, and I told him, yeah, man, I don't really want to have people move, and I certainly don't want to talk to another driver in that kind of situation. I just avoid the confrontation altogether, and I just shared that with him. And the operator, the guy on the phone, who works for Pilot, obviously, Pilot Flying J. He's the operator. He's looking at some computer somewhere, and he's giving me a refund for the reservation I made. He says, yeah, man, I understand you totally. It's just not that safe these days, and especially after like what happened today. And he starts talking about the shooting. He says, man, I don't know if you've watched it or not, the video of Charlie Kirk being shot in the neck, but he basically said something like, it's changed me, like it's like altered his brain, because he like looked right at it. He watched the video, and I'm like, oh, he advised me not to watch it. I was like, okay, I'm thinking I won't watch it. We wished each other well, like we were friends or something. You be safe out there, man. Before we said goodbye, I don't even know who this guy is. He's just the operator who was canceled my reservation for a parking space at a truck stop. And sure enough, skipping along, I did break out the old laptop the way I do every night, and looking at the news articles and videos and stuff. So many YouTube videos, and that's how I get my news during the day, when I'm not listening to music for entertainment, keeping my mind going as I drive 500 miles a day. I did end up looking at the video. And as much as that YouTuber I mentioned had tried to advise his audience, including me obviously, not to watch the video of Charlie Kirk being shot, and as much as I thought, you know what, I probably won't watch it anyway, because if it upsets me and triggers me, yes, I said triggered, in the way that I have been in the past, where I get so angry that it actually alters my heartbeat, and I become kind of ill from being so angry about some injustice that I'm witnessing with my own 2 eyes. Something bad happening in the world, something in the news, corrupt politicians, what have you. I'm like, you know what, I'll just skip it. I'll just believe it. Everybody in the world knows the man's been shot, and so I'll just go with it. I have no reason to doubt them. That's ridiculous. So yeah, I did end up actually watching the video. And the particular video that I watched, it had it going like 2 or 3 times with the sound done just a certain way and slowing it down for a second and then speeding back up and going to other related news of what's happened since then. And police are on the case. They're combing the area. They're looking for a shooter. They've got one man in custody, but it turned out to be not the guy. It was the old guy who was all of a sudden ranting and raving about something. And it's like, well, what the world is that? Was that just a distraction so another guy could get away? And all the conspiracy theories start cranking up. And just watching Charlie in that seat, for whatever reason, when I first saw that video, I thought that he'd been shot from behind and at an elevated angle. No, dummy. I finally realized it's much more simple than that. He was shot from the front, from an elevated position. The guy was on a roof. And not that I understood it at that moment, but other people had mentioned something, then I put 2 and 2 together. Oh, he actually has body armor plate on. And the bullet ricocheted off of his body armor, and of all places for the bullet to go, it went directly up into his neck, where multiple vital blood vessels are located on the side of your neck, either side of your head there. And it was just like the worst possible luck, apparently, that's where the bullet would go. And the way his arm flew back and his head bounced back, and you see the actual hole that it made before this poor man started to pour blood like water from a faucet out of his neck. The way he went limp, I was thinking later, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to say it's a good thing. There's nothing good about this, but it's like, I want to say, like, at least he was clearly, like, out of it and going unconscious right then, even before he hit the ground. And to hear that old man in one of the videos, the way he said, Charlie, like crying, like calling, like the most concerned call out before there were hundreds of people at this thing, man. Hundreds at this college campus for one of Charlie Kirk's little events. I say little, it's like thousands of people there. It's almost like a rock star type deal. It was so horrible the way that old man called his name, because he was right there, not 30 feet away, and he had to be right there. You could see the side of this man's head as he's looking right toward Charlie as the blood started and he slumped over, fell out of the chair, and all the people start screaming and running away. I thought to myself the first time I saw it that, like if you've seen lots of action movies or maybe some horror movies, something kind of graphic, it's like you've seen worse. If you played lots of video games where zombies get blown apart and all this kind of junk, it's almost kind of a tame thing, and yet my mind, as I'm looking at it 2 or 3 times, it's like your brain knows it's like a total different thing. It's like, this isn't fake, this is real. You're transfixed on it as I'm watching it. It's like this is real. This is a real man being shot in real life in front of the whole world, live streamed. It was like a nightmare. And for 2 or 3 days, I was all torn up. It's like, this feels like such a new thing. We know, like the Kennedy assassination, it was videotaped. It was almost like a live TV thing. But it's just in this modern time, in this current day, there hasn't been anything quite like this. And I was kind of hoping to make, just speak these words, because I already feel a little bit better just talking about it out loud. I do. I admit it. I do. Just talking and making this video, who knows when I'll upload it, but just to make this recording and get all this off my chest, get it out of the basement, as they say, is helping me. I maybe should have just said my heart goes out to his family. He has a wife and 2 little children. And that's one of the first things that I thought about at the time, feeling kind of condemned, like guilty somehow, because here I am. I'm 41 years old. I don't have a wife. I don't have children. Charlie Kirk has a wife and children, and he's a big success. He was really good at what he did, and he did well for himself. And it's like, there's a widow, there's 2 orphans now, because somebody shot this poor man. And it's just so weird to me somehow. Like I was about to say, I kind of wish I'd made this recording 2 or 3 days ago, right after maybe it had happened, just to clear the deck then, instead of waiting until now, because now my mind is kind of contaminated by all the junk that's happened since then, with leftist crazy people. I mean, just really schizo-sounding people celebrating Kirk's death, gloating about how they're glad he's gone, and saying the nastiest things. And I don't want to bash people on the right for just saying this is totally unacceptable. It's just the sheer magnitude of this, and all the videos I'm seeing, and all the vitriol. It's like almost like a evil vulture culture, in as much as it's like everybody's like capitalizing off of this man's death. This totally unexpected thing that I never saw coming. As soon as I got home, one of the first things I said to my mom was, "You just have no idea what's going to happen next in this world. No idea." And then all the talk of, well, this is something that's been brewing for a long time, and blah, blah, blah. Be that as it may, to see so many videos and so much vitriol is like, on the one hand, I can see how big this is. That's not lost on me. I'm trying to say that over and over again, but at the same time, it's like, you just get that icky feeling like people are capitalizing on it and using it for their own ends, every which way. And it makes you sick all over again, the same way like when it first happened. I'm looking at this video, I almost felt ill. And I don't even want to go into it because it detracts from what I'm saying, but just so you know, just to be perfectly honest, I wasn't the biggest Charlie Kirk fan, and I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to have to say that, because I think it's stupid on some level. And yet, I don't know why. It's like, for total honesty's sake, you just feel like you have to say it. But the idea that somebody would harm somebody, it's like, I never ever thought this man would actually be shot. And I say that as somebody who, I kind of resented him. And I'm just being honest here. I want to get this all out in this recording. And it's not because I hated him or what he was doing. I agree with the man on so many things, is partly why, but it's also like a part of my own cynicism, I guess. Ben Shapiro, for instance, and Charlie, and to maybe a little lesser extent Steven Crowder, they had this thing where they would go to the college campuses, and you already know all this, I know, I'm just trying to give my take on it. It's like, they're men who have been used to talking and using the same proven, tried and true debate points to quote-unquote own and school these young, inexperienced, and, if I may say, often very dumb college students who don't know much of anything, haven't had a chance to do much of anything. They just landed at university with parents, Lord bless them, who, for, I say, misguided reasons, sent them to university. Yes, I say again, I think it's a misguided thing at this point to even send your kids to these schools, public school included, the government public school. And so, after a while, it's just, yeah, I see what you're doing. It's a generally good thing. But maybe it's just the fact that I reached a point where I said to myself, I could never see myself doing that because I see it as an utter waste of time. It's like going into a burning building and trying to salvage the washing machine or some junk at this point. It's like it's too far gone in my mind. These things, these entities, these leftist indoctrination factories need to be shut down. The Department of Education, in my opinion, needs to be done away with. And it all brought back closer, much, much closer to home. The states, homeschooling, private schooling, groups of homeschoolers getting together, and just any other option but the horrible government dictating how things should go. And so, in a way, I still see, particularly Kirk, even more so than like Crowder or Ben Shapiro, trying to save a few, trying to snatch a few from the complete abyss, ideological abyss that is what these kids are like after they've been through 4 years of these colleges, if not more. And so, yet again, it's like my own cynicism getting in the way. It's like, man, I would never do that. I wouldn't bother doing it. But he did. He put his money where his mouth is. He put his life literally on the line. And in that way, he was a courageous person, because I, for a long time, have sensed how dangerous this stuff is. And he knew it. He had this body armor on and stuff. It's like, but do you think Steven Crowder is going to be doing any more of his change my mind things where he just sits at a table and stuff? I don't, not on these campuses, not in these colleges. Or Ben Shapiro, that again, he's been kicked out of so many schools and disinvited and barred from, I doubt he's even interested in doing that kind of thing anymore. But now, Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, Turning Point, you can't make it up, has been murdered. And I worry about these kids, I mean the young kids, to see a man bleeding to death right there, so much blood. What is this doing to them, you know? And it's just, throw it on the pile. It's another reason why maybe there needs to be some kind of responsible control over these things. I just don't know how it can be done. I wish parents would exercise complete control over what their kids are being exposed to the extent that they can. So many kids having phones in their hands. It's like, it's just, I don't even think that's even my cynicism. I think anybody at this point ought to agree with me. It's like, it's all just a big disaster. How did this come to be? Are you paying for that phone, kid? Really? Or is it a gift? And your parents got it for you so you'd have something to, so you get you out of their hair. Is that what's going on? Is it just a convenience thing, an entertainment thing? Because there's so many, it's just horrible. It's just horrible. But yeah, now it's been 6-7 days now, and still can't believe this has happened. And one thing that it's taught me, maybe more so than anything in recent memory, is how precious life is. How it's fleeting, how you're here one day, one moment, and you're gone the next. And you never know what it is that's going to just take you out. Because I'd like to think that for the sake of his wife and his children in particular, if Charlie Kirk had any inkling that he was going to go do his thing on that Utah campus, but that he wouldn't make it out alive, that some lunatic was going to shoot him, I'd like to think that for his family he wouldn't have done it. And yet everything I've actually seen and heard of the man makes me think, no, he would just go right on and do it. I don't know, but I think I see that in him. And again, I say that as somebody who thought he was too much of a enthusiastic goody-good, for lack of better phrasing, particularly because he said a number of things that I flat out don't agree with. But that's neither here nor there. He did his thing. He wants kids on these college campuses to not be complete, brainwashed commie sympathizers at best, and maybe Antifa recruits at worst. He wants them to believe in their country. He wants them to know their history, love their heritage. He wants them to seek God first and foremost. He wants them to get married and have beautiful children and have a happy family and be fulfilled. He wanted nothing but good things. And I think Osmond Gold, I don't even watch that guy very much, but I'm seeing his clips pop up more and more. Osmond Gold, I think, what is the title? I didn't even watch his video. The title of it was something like, Kirk was the last guy who just wanted to talk, and now they killed him. They who, do we really even know yet? They got the guy in custody, but it's like, was it some trans cabal that assassinated him? Was it Israeli connection? And on the conspiracy theories can go. And all these videos now about suspicious people in the crowd and all this stuff. And it's like, that's another thing that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago, how life is fleeting and how things just move right along. Yeah, we're still reeling from Kirk's death, myself included. But it's already changing into the next thing. And as much as I want people to just stop and say, no, think about him. Even though he was somebody who, when he was alive, I didn't want to think about him that much. It's like I wished him well, but it's like I'm not for some of the things that he's for. And so it just is what it is. Is what it is. It was what it was. But because the man has been killed, murdered in cold blood, I wish people would just say, stop and think about him. Just think about his death. Think about his life. Don't let it morph into, oh, what does it all mean? And what's next? Even though that inevitably comes along, I still wish we could hold back the tide with our hands and say, no, just marinate in this for a while. Marinate in the fact that this man gave his life for his cause and has been cut down. It's like we're rushing to the after effects, the aftermath of it all. At least the way I see it. And I just see a lot of people, in some cases even on the right, it's almost all on the left, but even on the right, it's like there's a bloodlust that I see brewing, and I hate it. I just hate it. 'Cause more and more, as much as to sound too pretentious. I don't want to sound like some know-it-all, but it's like, I've seen this stuff for so long. And for people to have to learn a lesson this way, it's just hard to watch. But we do have to live through it, it looks like. And you gotta vent from time to time and get it off your chest. That's why I'm making this video. But yeah. So many videos in my recommended telling me with thumbnails and all these commentators and content creators, quote unquote content creators on YouTube, on this video site, saying they all hate you. And they're talking about leftists. It's like, I already knew a lot of this stuff. I'm waiting for all of you to kind of join me up on that sunny mountain. It's just the way that you're going about it is giving me pause. It is possible to just not tolerate things. I've been doing it for quite a long time now. I enjoy a great deal of peace. To the extent I lose my peace in the course of my days is because I let too much of this horrible news into my brain. And it causes me angst, big time. It's just, I was thinking today there's going to have to be some kind of an escape from, if not social media, the 24-hour news cycle and the propaganda that became, quote-unquote, legalized during the Obama years. If that one thing, the propaganda aspect with the leftist bent, could be done away the way it was allowed altogether to go forward during the 8 years of Barack Obama, if that could be undone, and these big news agencies weren't allowed to frame things the way that they do. That's what my mom said right after she told me Kirk had died. That's the one thing that I remember her saying now. She said, you can't call your president a fascist and a racist and all these terrible things and somebody out there not believe you. Some unstable person not try and do something about this evil that their news media is always talking about. And she's right. So if that one thing can be undone so that people aren't hammered over the head in the news to be leftists and to, I'll go ahead and say it, call for the destruction of their political opponents they disagree with, then that would be a really great victory. The mental health of not just half the country that's unfortunately sliding downhill fast, but the whole country. By virtue of that, the whole country, the mental health of the whole country, of everybody in the country, would start to improve. And I think it would start to improve dramatically. There would be more contentment, there would be more happiness, not nirvana, kumbaya, blue sky and rainbows, but if the majority of people could just stop hurting themselves with the constant flow of negative information that literally alters their brain waves, we would be doing so much better. And I wouldn't be having to hear all these people acting out so horribly, gloating in the death of a man who they didn't even know. Anyways, maybe I'll make another video about this at some point. But I am feeling better. I'm feeling much better. And I think I've said enough for now. Anyways, thank you for listening to me, folks. If you've listened to all this rambling and ranting. I do appreciate you. It's more attention than I deserve, and I wish you all well. Go with God. Be safe. Be very safe. Look out for each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.